let's jump right into this explainer. Today we're taking on a truly massive and honestly a fascinating subject: every single country in Europe. We're going to unpack the geography of this incredibly complex continent and, see what larger stories start to emerge when we really connect the dots.
Now get this, exactly 200,634 people have already immersed themselves in this specific geographic breakdown. That's a huge number, and it really proves that our collective desire to map out this continent is incredibly strong. People are just genuinely hungry to understand the sheer scale and layout of these nations.
The creator of this list built the entire compilation on one simple but incredibly powerful premise: helping you understand the world better. It's a bold mission, for sure, but it's a great reminder that breaking down these borders, really looking at each piece of the puzzle, is how we actually begin to grasp the complexities of our globe.
To make sense of all this raw geography, we'll be structuring our exploration today around 5 key themes: empires and microstates, the lifespan of history, the Eastern and Balkan tapestry, crossing transcontinental borders, and finally, understanding our world.
So let's kick things off with part 1, empires and microstates.
What's really fascinating here is the intense juxtaposition right at the heart of Europe. On one end of the spectrum, you've got the sprawling historical footprint of the British Empire, an era of massive global reach. But then, on the exact opposite end, you have completely independent microstates like Vatican City and San Marino. We're literally looking at global dominion contrasted against sovereign entities that you could walk entirely across in a single afternoon. It's wild.
And this list brilliantly highlights that Europe isn't just made up of massive nations with endless borders. No, it's dotted with these thriving microstates that are still holding their own ground today. Places like Andorra, tucked way up high in the mountains, the island nation of Malta, the alpine haven of Liechtenstein, and Luxembourg. These tiny dots on the map somehow survive the rise and fall of massive empires all around them.
Moving right along to part 2, the lifespan of history.
Because, geography isn't just about static landmasses, right? It's inextricably tied to human lifespans and the sheer passage of time. Take Jeanne Calment, for example. She was a French woman born in 1875 who lived all the way to 1997. Her extraordinary life stretched an astounding 122 years. But you might be wondering, why does she matter in a breakdown of European geography?
Well, this single human life effectively anchors the map. Think about it. During her 122 years, entire empires collapsed. 2 world wars completely redrew the borders of her own country and the entire continent, and the modern maps we rely on today were essentially forged. It is just a staggering way to visualize how incredibly fast geography actually evolves.
All right, let's zoom back out for part 3, the Eastern and Balkan tapestry.
To truly understand Eastern Europe, we really have to look at these regional clusters. Take Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. Together, they form the Baltics. This is a unified northern bloc that shares a coastline and deeply intertwined, highly complex histories.
And similarly, there's the incredibly intricate puzzle of the Balkan region, ranging from Albania, which actually kicks off the original source list, all the way to recently recognized entities like Kosovo. These nations form a vibrant, historically dense peninsula where Eastern and Western influences have literally collided and coexisted for centuries.
Now, sandwiched right between these Eastern tapestries and the West, we find the dense, interconnected heart of Central Europe. We're talking about countries like the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Poland, Hungary, Austria, Germany, and Switzerland. They form this core region where borders have fluctuated wildly over the years. Yet today, they act as the absolute economic and cultural engine of the continent.
But as we reach the outer geographical edges of this list, we hit a really fascinating ambiguity. It forces us to ask a crucial question. Where does Europe actually end? It sounds like a simple geography question, but trust me, the answer is wonderfully complicated.
Which brings us to part 4, crossing transcontinental borders.
The answer really lies in transcontinental borders. So Europe just isn't contained by simple, neat little lines. A transcontinental nation is one whose landmass bleeds right across traditional boundaries, in this case, bleeding over into Asia, which creates this geographic gray area that historians and mapmakers have been debating for centuries.
Take Russia and Ukraine, for example. Russia is undeniably a massive European presence, both in terms of population and history. Yet, its physical landmass stretches all the way across the globe to the Pacific Ocean. It dominates the eastern continental shift, making it a true transcontinental giant.
And then you have these beautifully blurred edges with the Caucasus nations, Kazakhstan and Turkey. Depending on who you ask, Kazakhstan, which actually has territory west of the Ural River, and Turkey, whose largest city, Istanbul, literally straddles two continents, are essential, inseparable parts of the broader European narrative.
Finally, let's pull it all together in Part 5, Understanding Our World.
When you look at the continent as a whole from this list, the sheer climatic and cultural diversity is absolutely staggering. I mean, you have the severe, breathtaking Nordic ice of Iceland, Finland, Sweden, and Denmark, completely contrasted with the sun-drenched warmth of Portugal, Italy, and Greece. It's basically a masterclass in how wildly the human experience can vary within what we artificially call a single continent.
So what this explainer really reveals is that Europe isn't some singular unified bloc. Not at all. It's a highly dynamic collection of resilient microstates, the remnants of massive historical empires, and fascinatingly blurred transcontinental borders. Trying to put Europe into a neat little box, it's impossible, because it's completely defined by this vibrant, chaotic diversity.
As we wrap up this geographical tour, I want to leave you with a thought to chew on. Does a continent truly end at a physical boundary, like a mountain range or a river? Or does it end where its shared human history fades? Think about that the next time you're looking at a map. Thanks so much for exploring with me today, and as always, stay curious.